The moment the thin paper brushed his palm, everything inside Julian Arden fractured at once. Because the woman he trusted with his future was sitting across the table from him, smiling calmly while danger quietly finished preparing behind his back. His heartbeat stumbled. The sunlight pouring through the tall windows of the grand dining hall suddenly felt too bright, like a spotlight exposing a lie he had been living inside for years. Julian had built his empire on clarity, on reading people before they spoke, on never letting emotion cloud judgment. Wardrooms across continents knew him as precise, untouchable, impossible to corner. Yet in that single second, emotion was all that existed. The note felt heavier than any contract he had ever signed. "Don't react, you're not safe. Trust the mirrors." The waitress had already stepped away. Her name was Elena Moore. Her posture was composed, her face neutral, but her eyes just before she turned had carried something unmistakable. Fear mixed with resolve. The kind worn by people who decide to do the right thing, even when it costs them everything. The restaurant glowed with daytime elegance. Marble floors reflected gold-trimmed columns. Crystal glasses caught the light. Linen napkins lay folded with perfect symmetry. This was the kind of place where money softened reality and danger felt impossible. Across from Julian, Vivian Halley scrolled her phone, lips curved in effortless confidence. She belonged in rooms like this. She wore wealth like a language she had mastered fluently. Julian had mistaken that fluency for loyalty. Elena moved toward the service corridor, heart pounding so hard she feared someone might hear it. She had grown up learning how silence could ruin lives. Her mother once saw something she should have spoken about and didn't. The regret had lived in their house longer than hope ever did. When Elena noticed the men near the exits, too still, too aware, something in her refused to stay quiet. She saw Vivian's subtle nod toward a mirrored column. Not romantic. Not accidental. That note was the only weapon she had. Julian forced his breathing to steady. He studied the room without turning his head. The mirrors revealed more than what sat directly in front of him. Two men near the bar pretended to read menus they never turned. Another leaned casually against the column, alert in a way leisure never required. The exits were quietly occupied. Vivian looked up then, meeting Julian's eyes for half a second. What flickered there wasn't guilt. It was calculation. That realization cut deeper than fear. This wasn't desperation. This was intention. She had chosen the place, the timing, the safety of daylight, knowing he trusted her presence as protection. Julian rose from the table smoothly, as though stepping away to take a call. To the room, it was nothing. To Vivian, it was a fracture. Her fingers paused mid-scroll. The men shifted. The game had changed. Julian moved toward the windows, sunlight warming his face as his reflection doubled in the glass. He caught Elena's gaze in the mirror, just a moment. Enough to exchange everything: unspoken gratitude, fear, understanding. What followed was quiet. No alarms, no chaos. Only precision. The men who believed they were unseen found themselves calmly intercepted by authority already alerted and waiting. The restaurant settled into stillness, suspended between what almost happened and what never would. Vivian remained seated, her composure finally cracking, not from remorse but disbelief. She had underestimated something she thought she understood completely. The instinct to protect a stranger. Outside, the air felt lighter. Julian stood beneath the open sky, realizing his empire had never truly protected him. What saved him was a folded note and the courage of someone with nothing to gain. Elena returned to her shifts. She still counted tips. Still blended into crowds, but something had changed. She had proven to herself that fear didn't own her voice. Julian withdrew from public life for a time, not to hide but to reflect. He began funding programs quietly, anonymously, supporting people who chose integrity when silence was easier. Months later, they crossed paths again. Not as savior and saved. Not as powerful and powerless. Just two people shaped by a shared moment of truth. And the world moved on, unaware of the future rewritten by a single brave choice, because betrayal can be loud. But compassion whispers and endures.